What if I told you that Panasonic just woke up from a 7-year slumber and chose violence against Fujifilm? While the entire photography world was obsessing over the impossible-to-buy Fujifilm X100 III, a Japanese giant that seemingly abandoned the compact camera dream was quietly engineering something that could shift the entire market. And the timing? It's almost too perfect to be coincidence. Before we dive into the details that camera manufacturers don't want leaking out, hit that subscribe button and smash the notification bell because this channel is your direct line to camera rumors, insider leaks, and the kind of information that breaks before anyone else is talking about it. Here's the situation that nobody saw developing. For months, Fujifilm has enjoyed a monopoly on the retro compact camera craze. The X100 III became the most talked about camera of the year, not because it was groundbreaking, but because you literally couldn't buy one. Stock shortages turned into price hikes that pushed the camera past $1,600, and enthusiasts were left refreshing retailer pages at midnight hoping to snag one. Scalpers were having a field day. But while Fujifilm was struggling to meet demand and counting their inflated profits, Panasonic was apparently watching, analyzing, and preparing to exploit every single weakness in that market. The Lumix LX100 III leaks suggest this isn't just another camera release. This is a calculated strategic strike designed to steal customers who are tired of waiting and tired of overpaying. Think about what Panasonic is doing here from a timing perspective. They haven't touched the LX100 line since 2018. 7 years of silence while the world moved to smartphones and full-frame mirrorless systems dominated the conversation. Most people assumed the compact camera with a premium lens was dead, a relic of a bygone era before phone cameras got good enough for social media. But then something unexpected happened. The retro aesthetic exploded. Film photography made a comeback. Suddenly, people wanted that tactile, purposeful shooting experience again, and they wanted it in a compact body that didn't require lens changes or massive camera bags. Fujifilm capitalized on this perfectly with their X100 series, but they created a problem they couldn't solve. Demand vastly exceeded supply, and their loyal customers started looking elsewhere. That's where Panasonic apparently decided to make their move, and the leaked specifications suggest they're not playing around. Let's talk about what sources are whispering about this camera. Because if even half of these rumors are accurate, Panasonic is about to drop a value bomb that makes every other compact camera look overpriced. The most significant leak revolves around the sensor. We're hearing that the LX100 III will feature a 25-megapixel Micro Four Thirds live MOS sensor. The same sensor architecture found in the Lumix G9 II, a camera body that costs $1,900 by itself. But here's where it gets interesting. This sensor includes phase detect autofocus, which the previous LX100 models desperately lacked. But the sensor upgrade is just the beginning of this story. The leaked specifications mention something called dynamic range boost, and an updated Venus engine processor with artificial intelligence subject detection for people, animals, and vehicles. Now, let's put this in a real-world context that actually matters to photographers. You're shooting a documentary project in a city at dusk. The buildings are backlit, there are deep shadows in the foreground, and your subject is moving through mixed lighting. A camera without sophisticated dynamic range handling forces you to choose. Do you expose for the highlights and lose shadow detail? Or do you protect the shadows and blow out the sky? With dynamic range boost and intelligent processing, the camera is making micro adjustments in real time, pulling detail from both ends of the exposure spectrum, giving you a file that's actually usable without extensive post-processing. For a compact camera that you can slip into a jacket pocket, this is the kind of capability that used to require a full-frame body and professional-grade lenses. The lens is where Panasonic's relationship with Leica becomes crucial, and also where things get politically interesting in the camera industry. The rumored fixed 24 to 75mm equivalent, f1.7 to f2.8 Leica DC Vario Summilux lens is reportedly the same optical design as the LX100 II, but with new nano-surface coating technology. Why does coating matter? Picture this. You're photographing a musician performing under harsh stage lights, or you're shooting into the sun during a travel documentary in Santorini. Without advanced lens coatings, You get flare, ghosting, and a loss of contrast that makes your images look washed out and amateur. Nano-surface coatings suppress those artifacts, maintaining sharpness and color saturation even in challenging backlight situations. But here's the twist that makes this a surprise move. Panasonic is expected to share DNA with the Leica Deluxe 8 that launched in 2024, but with Panasonic exclusive features like that hybrid autofocus system, and they're reportedly pricing it 40% lower than Leica's $1995 version. They're essentially offering Leica glass without the luxury badge premium, and that's going to upset some people in Wetzlar. Now we need to discuss the video capabilities, because this is where Panasonic is aiming directly at content creators who've been eyeing Fujifilm but need more than just film simulations. The leaks suggest 6K at 30 frames per second in open-gate recording, 4K at 120 frames per second for slow motion, and 5.9K at 60 frames per second with 10-bit color depth. Let's translate that into something tangible. You're a travel vlogger documenting your journey through Vietnam. You're shooting yourself walking through Hanoi's Old Quarter. You want smooth, cinematic footage, and you need flexibility in post-production to reframe shots for both YouTube and vertical formats for social media. Open-gate recording gives you the full sensor area to work with, so you can crop to different aspect ratios without losing resolution. The 120 frames per second capability means when you capture that perfect moment, a street vendor tossing noodles in a wok, water droplets splashing in slow motion, you can stretch time and create those dramatic moments that elevate content from travel snapshots to professional storytelling. Let's address the price positioning and what it means for Fujifilm. Rumors consistently point to $1,199 as the base price for the LX100 III. That's $300 cheaper than the LX100 II's inflated current price, and crucially, it's $400 less than what you'll pay for a Fujifilm X106 if you can even find one in stock. Panasonic is reportedly aiming to position this as the pro-compact value king, and they're not being subtle about it. They're targeting enthusiasts who've been priced out or shut out of the Fujifilm ecosystem, offering comparable features with better video capabilities and a more realistic price point. This is the kind of aggressive market positioning that forces competitors to respond. If Panasonic can actually deliver a camera with these specifications at this price point and have it available to purchase without a 6-month waiting list, they don't just compete with Fujifilm, they potentially dominate this segment. The release timeline adds another layer to this strategic chess game. The camera was rumored for October 2025, but that window closed without an announcement. The latest credible leaks now suggest January through February 2026, possibly at CES or a dedicated Panasonic event, with actual shipping in late Q1 to early Q2. Why does timing matter so much? Because Fujifilm is still struggling with X106 supply issues. If Panasonic launches in early 2026 with adequate inventory, they capture everyone who's been waiting 6 months or more for Fujifilm to catch up. Every month that Fujifilm says, "We're working on production," is another month that potential customers are researching alternatives and discovering the LX100 III exists. Panasonic doesn't need to build the hype that Fujifilm already created. They just need to be available when Fujifilm isn't. Remember that question from the beginning? What if Panasonic choosing this moment to revive a 7-year-old product line isn't coincidence, but calculated revenge against a market that counted them out? The LX100 III leaks suggest Panasonic never stopped watching, never stopped learning, and they waited for exactly the right moment when Fujifilm's success created its own vulnerability. They're not just releasing another compact camera, they're exploiting every frustration that Fujifilm customers have been voicing for the past year. Can't find stock? We'll have inventory. Price too high? We're cheaper? Video not good enough? Watch what we can do. Film simulations limiting? Our color science goes deeper. This is what happens when an underestimated competitor decides it's time to remind everyone why they're still in the game. If you want to see what other cameras are rumored to shake up the market in 2026, check out my video on the top 10 rumored cameras for 2026 through the end screen. The industry is shifting faster than anyone predicted, and you don't want to miss what's coming next.